LoreWarrior Armour, I think. The Crow Scout Helicopter. Overview. The Crow Scout helicopter is based largely on the civilian SAW search and rescue craft, although significant modifications had to be made to bring the Crow in line with military specifications. Yan Manufacturing, a civilian aircraft manufacturer and a subsidiary of Lufyan Armour Works, modified the Crow to perform airborne electronic intelligence and RF suppression duties after the DCMS suffered significant losses to its light battlement forces during the Ghost Bear Dominion War. The SAW is one of the more effective SAR craft ever manufactured, and Yan wisely kept most of the craft's strengths when they converted the airframe to combat use. A larger fusion engine gives it the capacity for heavier equipment and a more capable airframe, and a full payload of top-shelf electronics, giving the Crow top-notch eyes in the sky. Despite the Crow's obvious qualifications, the hefty price tag of the high-end electronics did make the DCMS procurement officers wary of investing too much of the rather fragile military budget in an unknown craft. It wasn't until the financial ruin of the attack on Lufyan that Yan managed to strike a deal with Warlord Minamoto's staff. In return for supplying the electronics, the DCMS would receive 80% of all Crows produced without charge, while the remainder would be sold on the open market to generate much-needed capital to keep the former juggernaut of LAW operational. Although the Warlord himself couldn't be involved in such a mundane matter as a contract negotiation, the tacit approval granted by his obvious lack of sanction provided the impetus to move the deal forward. The first production Crow entered service a little over 6 months after the start of these negotiations. Capabilities. With a top speed of over 215 km per hour, the Crow is one of the fastest combat VTOLs in production. It compares favourably with popular Michelson Heavy Industries designs that have gained prominence in recent years, and most Combine technicians are already fairly familiar with the Yan airframes and how they're put together, since the SAW appears on pretty much every Combine world. When the Yan engineers added the DAV fusion engine, they knew that military pilots would be pushing the airframe with more strenuous activity than civilian operators ever would, so they added strategic reinforcement to the proven SAW frame. The rotors of the Crow, for example, use advanced composites that are virtually as strong as conventional military armour, but retain the requisite flexibility and fatigue tolerance of VTOL rotors. This has sadly led to a recognised flaw in the design, especially among the horde of mercenary buyers that snapped up the helicopter when it first reached the market. Because the Crow's blades are built solely on New Samarkand, mercenaries outside the Combine are forced to replace worn equipment with locally made, lower quality components that often fail when subjected to the same level of stresses at which the Crow's pilots are trained. Efforts to get spare parts packaging shipped outside the Combine has been stymied by the travel and communication disruption of the Jihad, but Yan promises it is doing everything in its power to rectify this situation. As the Crow is designed as a reconnaissance craft, it mounts only a pair of extended-range small lasers, although these weapons do provide respectable reach and damage for a light craft. The Crow's primary defense is still the speed that it produces, and the Crow's armor simply cannot face modern opponents. Deployment. Although production delays related to the delicate electronics continue to plague the Crow's manufacture, a number of production runs have been shipped to many of the premier units of the DCMS, including the Genyosha and the Ryuken, as well as the regular line regiments. Among mercenary circles, the export-built model for the Crow continues to sell well, despite repair issues, and the next 3 runs are already spoken for. Variants. Shortages of tag equipment have led to Yan mounting a C3 slave unit in its place on a number of production runs of DCMS exclusive units. An export version, a dedicated strike and harasser craft, is built and marketed to mercenary companies. This version removes the electronics and adds more weapons and armour, including a pair of machine guns and a bank of one-shot rocket launchers. With a price tag of approximately 1/3 of the original Crow, this one is quite popular. Notable crews include the Dragonfly. The first Crow to fly with the Genyosha, Dragonfly has already claimed 4 kills with its tag designator, and its crew are already lobbying to have its ineffective lasers replaced with a C3 slave module. It's nice to get back to helicopters. So this is a 15-tonner, its movement type is obviously VTOL, its power plant is the DAV-100 fusion engine, its cruising speed is 140 kph and its flank speed is 216 kph. Its armour is the Star Slab 3, with 2 ExoStar ER small lasers, manufactured by Yan Manufacturing on New Samarkand. Communication system is the Scooty Dual-Com, with Apple Churchill Guardian ECM. Its targeting and tracking is the Skyhunter 4 with Forward 1 tag and Wunderland Beagle Active Probe. Fantastic package for targeting and tracking. Skyhunter 4 is a brilliant update of the original system, and it just keeps getting better, to be honest. But the Wunderland Beagle Active Probe, gotta question that one. That's definitely where they had to sort of look at the cost of parts, and the Wunderland it's a bit of a mid brand, really. I mean, Wunderland were at that Electronics Expo with they were sponsored by McCracken's show, and it was an absolute shit show. It was really bad. I mean, granted, McCracken did arrive on stage to give the presentation completely drunk, but I will point out, Yan Manufacturing did provide him with the alcohol. He did take advantage of such provided alcohol, and thus why they are surprised, I have no idea. Somehow they have kept the agreement with Wunderland Beagle Probe despite this, and Wunderland Beagle Probe still kept on McCracken as a spokesperson. So I mean, I guess it all worked out. I suppose, any publicity is good publicity. There's no such thing as bad publicity, I guess. And McCracken is certainly a character who, will speak his mind, let's say. And the things he had to say about Kuritans was, I can't repeat here. Anyway, as far as stats are concerned, this is a vehicle that, due to its speed, moves 13 and 20 on flank speed. It only needs 10 heat sinks because its weapons are relatively small. Armour isn't actually that bad, to be fair. Granted, yes, any hit will cripple the vehicle, but it's got 8 on the front, so it can take a medium laser hit and get the fuck out. The sides have 5, the rear has 4, and the rotors have 2. So yeah, obviously very fragile, not surprising for its tonnage. It has 2 ER smalls located in the front, tag laser as well, and then it's protected by Guardian ECM, but it has a Beagle Probe as well for scouting and detecting enemy units that may be hidden, unbeknownst. So yeah, it's a cool little airframe. I like it. Art's nice for it as well. There's a good little story behind it as well. I like the fact that there's a couple of different versions, the Mercenary Export model, the DCMS sort of Scout model. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a nice little vehicle. So, we'll leave it there, shall we? I'll catch you all next time. Thanks for listening, as always. Have a good one, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.